Just first question about being independent contractor. So how does that work? So it's not like a PRN, it's something different. Like how do you provide services as an independent contractor?
So, a couple of ways. I ended up my career more as PRN, but I started as a contractor. So, I had to create a LLC. I had to get liability insurance. I had to go find my own contracts, meaning, and it was fairly easy for me because I worked for a couple of big name companies when I was in the DC area. So, they were national companies, more or less. So, when I got to Atlanta, I just went back to those companies and said, hey, do you need someone to cover when people go on vacation and thus and so forth? So those were a couple of the ways that I got started getting my own contracts. And then because at least Atlanta, it feels like is a big city, but it's a small city when it comes to the rehab world. So the more that I was in these settings and people knew what I was doing, the more people would reach out to me like, hey, I got a long vacation coming. Could you sub for me? And that's how I got myself into the other facilities. So in that regard, it was really quite easy for me to get the contracts. And I have to say, I loved it because I got to negotiate my own salary. I got to work where I wanted to, more or less, when I wanted to. It was incredibly challenging, but I think one of the benefits of doing it that way was because I was an independent entity working and functioning within a larger corporation, it really made me be on top of my game in terms of my productivity, in terms of my customer service, in terms of just being on top of things. Because when you're an independent contractor and when you're PRN, you're the first person on the chopping block and or you're the last person to call because you're the most expensive in terms of how much they pay you. And so it really, really sharpened a lot of the skills that I would then go on to use in my current business.